think we're ready to go. Getting set up. I think it is. Let's go. We'll be getting started here in just a little bit. I think that music is a little loud. I'm just getting set up, so it'll take a few minutes. Hope everybody's had a good week. Hello. How you doing? Need to not be lazy. Sometimes being lazy is okay. Welcome in. Or we are gonna make an entire sheet pan dinner. I haven't done this in a while. This is kind of a, well, it's kind of an American thing. Hope everybody had a good weekend. It's sunny here today, and it's actually slightly warmer. It's in the 40s instead of the 20s. We just went straight from summer to winter in like a week. We'll get started here in just a minute. Moving a little bit slower today. If y'all can hear the heater, I'm sorry, I have to turn it on. It's like 50 in here. This kitchen gets all over the place. All right, let's go ahead and get our cameras on. So welcome in. It's Sunday. I know I'm a little late. It took me a little while to find something, and we're getting kind of close to the holidays. Usually I'm not here by now. I'm off on vacation for a little while, but I'm starting a little later this year because I didn't get as much time. and fighting with traffic and dumb people that are just, I don't know. So in any case, we're going to get started today. What we've got first today, as Zephyr's getting anxious and wants to get started, we've got kind of what we're going to call a mini meatloaf sheet pan meal. So I'm going to cook everything all at one time in the oven on a aluminum pan. So there's the first one. The second one is I found a Bavarian recipe for kind of an apple sausage hash, and it's intended on being high in carbs, but it is a little high in sodium and low in calories. So in any case, it looks pretty nice. We've got apple chicken sausage for that one, and I'm going to put an apple in it when I'm cooking it, so it'll have nice flavor to it, I believe. But first up right now is our meatloaf. Our mini meatloaf. So I've got about 1.5 pounds. This is actually about 2 pounds of very lean ground beef. We've got a couple of eggs. We've got some ketchup, and you don't necessarily need to use ketchup. You can use other things. We've got some quick cook cut oats. We've got an onion. We've got our asparagus. Asparagus is part of this meal. We've got potatoes, which I'm pulling out right now. We've got some brown sugar, which I've got over here. Now, as for seasonings, this isn't too complicated. We got a little bit of salt. In my case, very little. Calls for about 1/2 teaspoon. I'm only going to use about 1/4. Just a little bit. That'll cut down on the sodium count from the original recipe. Of course, we've got pepper. I like to always grind it myself. And I'll use a little more pepper than what they asked for. Then we've got a teaspoon of mustard. I'm going to use stone ground mustard to give it a little pep. Maybe some nutmeg. About 1/4 teaspoon of that. Oh, yeah. This stuff will stick to my hands. Hey, Stubby, welcome in. Hello, hello. How are you doing? I'm gonna add just a touch more. Nutmeg's gonna give a nice odor to it. First we need olive oil, which is a given. Now it's calling for garlic salt. I don't use garlic salt unless I have to. So I'm going to use garlic powder instead, although I would prefer to use real garlic. This is going to be the last show for the year. I am going to be going on a little bit of a vacation here shortly. I'll still be active and working and all, it's just not here. Doing good? Excellent. is our garlic powder. Now I'm just using straight up powder, not salt. So I'm going to try to reduce the sodium a little bit. Now, for the rest of it, that's everything that's called for from default. Now, we are in fact going to be putting our asparagus and our potatoes and all on the pan with the mini meatloaves that we're going to make here. And I'm going to spice up those potatoes a little bit, not just salt and pepper. So we're going to add a little bit of paprika. That. I'm not going to make it spicy. Paprika is from red bell pepper, so it's not exactly spicy. But it'll add a little bit of color too. It might sprinkle with a little bit of garlic as well. So that's pretty much it. This is not too difficult. There's not a ton of ingredients. I'm going to get a before picture. We're going to post it in Discord. I am still a little behind, but I am up to date on recent ones. So it's just older ones that I'm a little behind on. And if you'd like to join the Discord, there's a link underneath the stream. It is a permanent link. But you do need to let me know you're there, or let my mods know you're there, so that we can assign a role to you. We don't do it automatically because of bots and scammers. So let's go ahead and measure out some of our other things here, and we'll get going on this. With our oats, I think it was a quarter cup. I want to make sure I get this right because these need to stick properly. Oh, it's 3/4 cup. Okay. That music's still getting a little loud. There we go. And I just for mincemeat with bagged jacket potatoes, melted cheddar cheese. Why not? And then post it. Let's share with everybody. All right, so we got 3/4 of a cup of a quick cook oat. Good to have around for things like this. And they have a very, very long lifespan. Now, our sugar is about 3 tablespoons. I want to be careful with this one because I don't like eating a lot of sugar either. But we're going to use the correct amount, just the exact correct amount, not my hand tossing it. Now, ketchup, of course, is just for the topping. You can use barbecue sauce. You can use whatever you like for that. Experiment. Use 2 or 3 different ones. As for our mustard, We're going to need about a teaspoon of that, so not very much. We'll get to that in a few minutes. So I'm going to pull some of this over to the side here. We're going to trim and wash our asparagus, get that ready. Then we'll get our potatoes and our onions ready, and then we'll start mixing everything. So I'm going to pull these over here. We haven't got a whole lot of room on this table. With our eggs, we're just going to lightly beat those. Those are just kind of the binder for this. We'll start off by rinsing all this off here. There's obviously some substitutes you can do, of course, whatever you'd like to do. Now for these, I'm going to trim the base off of these a little bit. Not too much. But if you don't cut off some of it, it's going to be tough. There we go. So that's all the prep work we need to do for those. Fairly easy. Now let's get our potatoes. We're going to need to peel these and cut them into small cubes. Hey, boo-boo. Oh, we gotta hydrate, okay. How you doing? Oh, I shouldn't ask that. I know you're driving. All right, so we're just going to grab our peeler here, and I'm just going to do this over the trash can so we don't make a big mess. Okay, good. These are a little more on the ripe side and a little less on the green side. The last couple of times I've had to use potatoes for things, they were very green. There's one. All right, here comes number two. This one's a little green. It's not bad. I like my potatoes. Yeah, no green. Exactly. The green ones take longer to cook too. Of course, when you get into some of the different varieties, you end up with ones that are various different colors. Then you got a problem figuring out whether they're ripe or not. We got purple potatoes here. Red ones are easy. Red ones only red on the skin, but the purple ones are purple all the way through. Yeah, this one's good. This one's ripe too. Right, there we go. All right, for these, we're just going to cut them in small cubes. See how they're not hard? That's good. We'll make them about yay big. Seen those and the red ones? Yeah. Of course, sweet potatoes are all over the place. They can be yellow, they can be orange. All right, there's our potatoes. Yeah, not so hard. You need a wood chipper, exactly. Oh, that onion's got some real thick skin to it. All right, now do we need the whole onion for this one? I remember one of these was only a quarter. This is quarter. Okay. So for this one, we're not using a ton of onion. Of course, the amount is really subjective. After all, when they tell you you need a quarter of a small onion, okay, define small. There we go. Like I said, very thick skin. Very finely chopped, so that's what we're doing. I'm just kind of rolling the knife. There we go. That looks pretty good. It's practically minced. All right, next up. Get our eggs done, and our eggs need to be beaten. Hey, Van, welcome in. Hello. Oh, we got a joke. Let me sit down for a second. My back has been causing me a lot of trouble the last couple of weeks. So I need to not stand up on the concrete for too long of a time at once. Oh gosh, let me think. I've had a couple in mind the last couple of days, but I've used them everywhere. Damn it, Ben. Fine. You know what it's called when the cows are watching you a little too closely? A stakeout. Nah, I need to get up anyway. We're gonna start moving here. Oh. That egg didn't feel right. The membranes on these are super thick. Hey, Boris, hello, come here. Oh. Came in right on the joke, huh? Have you been staking out the stream? All right, we want to lightly beat these. We don't want them all frothy and foamy. Take a yolk, exactly. My boss used to give me fresh eggs from their chickens. The membranes were invincible. I don't buy the bleached eggs. You'll never see me using white eggs here. All right, so there's that. That's probably well mixed up enough there. So I think we're ready to go ahead and start on the process. So I'm going to go ahead and heat the oven up because it's going to take a few minutes to get that hot. We're going to cook this at 425. I also failed to put the cup of tomato juice on the list here, but that's okay. I knew I bought that, and I knew what I was using it for. So yeah, there was some more the tomato juice involved in this too. Need about a cup of that. Completely forgot about it. Let's get the oven on. So yes, also tomato juice, by the way. So we got about a cup of tomato juice here. This is part of the mix. We've got our oats. Our onion. Our eggs. Yeah, see, I'm doing the same thing. All right, just a second. I'm going to grab some freezer bags before I start this time. Although this may be the last time you see me using these. Because I have bought myself a one of the Food Savers, which is a vacuum sealer. And we'll be vacuum sealing everything instead of having to rush it all through the freezer in less than 2 months anymore. This is 2¼ pounds, so we need about 2/3 of it, like right here. I'm just going to drop that right on in there. And then the remaining amount is going to go into the freezer for another one. Oh, what am I making? This is a sheet pan dinner. It's mini meatloaf with well, mini meatloaf meal is really what the original recipe is. So we're making small meatloaves. We're putting them on a sheet pan. I'm going to use the aluminum one. Then we've got asparagus over here to go with it, and we've got potatoes to go with it. We're all just going to put them all together at one time on the pan. This is a moderately easy one. So no big deal. Two of these. Yeah, I generally use these plastic ones when we're doing with meat, when we're working with meat. And I use the wood ones for everything else. Oh, this is going to be cold. Ah. Yeah. But also remember that a majority of the microplastics problem is actually car tires. So don't be too heavily on it. I may need to add a little bit more of the meat to it because this feels like it's a little bit on the mushy side. Oh, that's cold. Oh, that is so cold. What you generally see me using is the bamboo one for most everything. And I'll be using that for the next one. Since you can't put bamboo in the dishwasher, that's one of the reasons I don't like using the bamboo for the meats. I don't know, this might be alright. It's a little bit on the soft side. It did mix well. You can see how well it's incorporated. Now we have the second mix that we got to do. The second mix has got our ketchup and our mustard and our brown sugar in it. Now we still need to spice this. So our little bit of salt that I wanted to put in. A little bit of the pepper, not all of it. Just a little. This is mostly for your potatoes and all. Now here's the point of no return. You can decide, you can go ahead and start making it, or you can go ahead and add any other spices you like. Personally, I'm thinking about adding a little bit of cumin to it, and maybe some of that paprika. Because this is going to be a little bit on the bland side. I know a lot of people like that, but for me, that's my own kind of bland. I have the perfect solution. Wherever it disappeared to. And just a little bit of our cumin powder. See, here I am. It's only been 30 minutes and I'm already modifying stuff. I'm going to add a little bit of that paprika too. I think that will probably do it. We need to mix it pretty thoroughly. We're going to have to get our sheet pan out here in a second and start making our loaves. There we go. That's got more of a meatloaf smell to it than me. Pull this out of the way. Now, one of the reasons that we're doing this in the mini style is because of time. For a full meatloaf, if I were to make a full meatloaf out of that, it's going to take more than an hour to cook. But if you're in a hurry and you've only got 30 minutes, this is a better solution. With some oil. We're going to do the little crumple routine I've showed you a couple times. It'll be a little less likely to stick if you do it this way. All right, there we go. Now we're supposed to make about 6 or so of these little loaves. Then coat them. Gonna try to make them into kind of like a little. Oh shoot! Did it again. Considering the temperature, you don't want to use olive oil. Use canola oil spray for this. Since the temperature is at 425, butter or anything else like that is going to start scorching and smoking, so you don't want that. There we go. Just trying to make little football shapes. Kind of like when we used to make taku taku, which is something I might be putting on the menu again next year, soon. Instead of doing a best of kind of show, I was thinking about just doing some of the recipes over again and see how they look versus old versus new. I was looking back at some of my older recipes, trying to figure out, what to make. And it occurred to me that I haven't made any like chicken biryani or anything like that in like 3 years. So I think it's probably time I did that again. Lamb keema. Alright, the last one's a little smaller, but we got it pretty even. We're going to keep the thickness the same as much as possible. And then we got to wash hands again. Alright, so now we need to make our sauce go on top of this. Oh, the oven just clicked off. Our sauce is going to be made of ketchup, mustard, and brown sugar. Yeah, this is the good old classic American kind of thing, isn't it, Jim? Meat and taters. Now we need a quarter cup of ketchup. And again, this is for this sauce. You can use other things, of course. There's a lot of sugar in this. I'm not real happy about that. This is why the ketchup turns brown cooking. Alright, there's our ketchup. Now our mustard. I went ahead and bought these fresh because the ones in the fridge are, I have no idea how old. I'm going to probably toss them out next week. It said about a teaspoon, that's a little bit more than that. If I were to do this again, immediately one thing that pops out to me, I would probably use a can of tomato sauce and add the sugar to it rather than using the ketchup because it's a little bit less sugar that way. But we'll go ahead and make our sauce. This is kind of akin to barbecue sauce here, really. This is close. Now this is going to have a little bit of a grainy appearance to it because I've used the stone ground mustard. But I'm sure it tastes just fine. This is also a very convenient mix for doing lunches. This one also said it serves 4. That looks like a little more than 4 to me. I'm just going to use our silicone brush here because these are very soft. This meat is very, very soft. I'm trying to be gentle with it. We're going to get them all nice basic coated first, and then we'll use whatever we got left to put a little extra. This sauce should turn a little bit on the thick side once you start dehydrating it. Let's get some of the ones that look a little thin. All right, so there is our meatloaf portion of this meal. If you're doing this on your own, this shouldn't take you but about 20-25 minutes. I like to over prepare and make sure that everything's right. Keep an eye on things. Now next up is our potatoes. We need our spices to stick to those when we dump them in the pan. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of a higher temperature oil. I'm going to use a little bit of our sunflower oil for this. That's probably a little too much, but we'll see. Of course, we're not supposed to use that because seed oils are the reason that we're all sick. Sorry, crazy people. I want to make sure these are nice and well coated. You're just looking for a nice sheen. Hey, Haven, welcome in. Hello, hello. What you doing? And Ernos, hello. Once again, I did not look at my phone. Well, don't worry. I'm not going too fast today. We've made some little meatloaf kind of like patties here. And I'm just making some potatoes and some asparagus. And this is just a very simple sheet pan dinner. Something you can do in, half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. So I'm going to start off by sprinkling in our paprika. If you're using potatoes for this, you can use whatever you like. I'm going to mix this in until they're got some coating on them. Paprika is going to add a little bit of a kind of a smoky odor to it as well. This one we're going to use our garlic and our pepper as well. Now I'm using garlic powder, as I mentioned earlier, instead of salt. You can use garlic salt if you want to. Mix in our pepper too. You want to get these nice and evenly coated as you can. Little meat buns, yeah. Honestly, you could do that too if you have the predilection for it. I saw them making pumpkin meat buns last night. More pepper. There we go. Got a nice, even, light red coating. Salt and pepper. Could indeed try making buns. You absolutely could. You're the baker. I'm not so good at that. Although recently I have done fairly well. Now you see why we need a big baking pan for this one. This is a fairly big sheet pan here. Alright, there's that. Now the last part is our asparagus. We're going to combine this with a little bit of oil, a little bit of the garlic, and a little bit of the pepper as well, and we're going to mix those in. I might have forgotten the nutmeg. I'm just going to let it sit on top and bake in. I even had to smell it to remember which one it was. There we go. Happy little accidents, right? All right, same thing with our asparagus. We want to coat this with a neutral oil, but not anything low temperature. If you use olive oil, it's going to scorch. So in this case, kind of going to do the same thing. I'm going to spray these with canola oil. And we'll just kind of set them down here. This pan really is not big enough for this. So we'll just kind of layer them a little bit. Hope that works. It should. A little bit of salt and pepper. Again, go easy on the salt if you need to. No hollandaise this time.
Who's smaller, Gyoju or Noodle? Noodle. Noodle by a wide
Ooh, boy.
margin. Because Gyoju's actually visible.
Hey, Ducky, hello. Welcome in. Oh, Raiders. How are you all doing? So glad to see ya. What were we up to today?
That is a perfect roll.
Oh, still doing the backyard baseball. Okay.
Gyoju, I'm
What are we making today? Doing your job for once. This is an easy sheet pan dinner that I had found. And we're just finishing it up to put it in the oven. So you're about halfway through today. You all doing? Welcome in. If you haven't been here before, I'm one of the few that likes to do these cooking shows on Twitch. Glad to see ya. We also do gaming during the week sometimes, usually a couple days a week. But I'm primarily trying to do these cooking shows mostly. So there is our relatively easy dinner. This didn't take too long. It did take me about an hour. But again, I like to over prepare things. So what we have some proud of Jindal. We have some little miniature meatloaf patty kind of things. And then we've got our potatoes here set up for roasting, and we've got some asparagus here as well. This is why we need a big sheet pan. I'm going to pop this in the oven. This should take about 25-30 minutes. Maybe a little longer. I wanted to be sure to set that in first because it has to cook for a while. Oh. Now our second one today. This one we're going to cook on top of the oven. This is a stovetop one. Now we're going to need another half cup of chopped onions, so I'm going to set that back down over here. And this one calls for cabbage. Where did my sausage go? Uh-oh. Well now. That's interesting. That's not happened but once or twice. Seems the cashier didn't put the sausage in my bag. Let me check real quick. Oh my god. Ah. I'll check one thing real quick. Oof. Well, it looks like the cashier did not give me my sausage. And that was kind of the main point of this dish. Let me see. Well, chat, this has been fun so far today. So what the problem is, I bought some apple chicken sausage for this. I know I had it. It was in the basket. Apparently, the cashier didn't put it in the bag. So all I've got left is Cajun style andouille sausage, which is frozen. So guess what we're doing? We are now making apple Cajun. Oh. This ought to have an interesting taste to it. Y'all wanted Cajun style, right? We just went off the rails. That's okay. The cabbage is a substitute too, because actually the original recipe called for Brussels sprouts. And I personally do not like the Brussels sprouts these days. They used to taste a lot better, but for some reason they've basically gotten bitter over the last, I don't know how many years. Alright, so I'm going to thaw those out in the microwave. I know. We are adapting, chat. And I don't like using that phrase, so I'm just going to say everyone. It feels too zennial for me. Last time he made one apple pie that turned out to be too huge. One that is correct. It did. It turned out to be a very huge apple pie. And everybody at work said that they loved it, and they liked the fact that I had made it with a lot less sugar. They liked it better when it was a little tart and with a little bit of cinnamon on it. But the people I work with are also half diabetic, so. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna very thinly slice up this cabbage. I'm glad I found a nice little one, because all these really big ones, I end up throwing half of them away. You can't get too much apple pie. Coincidentally, I know what I did wrong with that apple pie. And what it was, the apples were supposed to be sliced almost paper thin. And I left them about 5 to 7 times thicker than that. And they were supposed to be kind of layered in a circle. And that's how we ended up with 2 pies. So now we're going to make some sort of, we're just going to improvise with what we got. Now let's start shaving this cabbage. This is about to become a whole new recipe here. It is no longer going to be a sweet dish. The gist of it is that we were supposed to use that apple chicken sausage, and add a little bit of onion, and then add 2 green apples to the mix, and basically stir fry it with our cabbage. Now I guess we're going to make something kind of Cajun flavored. Whoops, I slipped into nighttime chef mode there for a minute. Alright, so there's our cabbage. It's nice and thin and diced up. Now we'll cut up our onion. Make this super small fine cut. That's all going to mix together. Okay, Cajun style. Let's see. I'm going to change the mix completely. And we'll just do the Bavarian one later. Not a big deal. Onions are your nemesis. Yeah, I remember you saying something about that. Aren't you allergic or something? I think you're allergic, aren't you? We'll add a little bit of garlic to this, and I'm going to use real garlic and not the powder. All we've got are the little sad cloves today. None of those big honking ones we usually get. Give it a little smash. this recipe is now turning into something similar to what it was supposed to be. Not exactly. And take off just the tip. Big chopper. Heck, what you doing? That's not worth stopping. Come on. There we go. Whatever spices that picks up from that, so be it. All right, we're gonna make this Cajun style. And let's use some of our old friend as well. Done it, Chetty Creole. Because this has got the right mixture of spices in it for that. So what this is, it's primarily just black pepper, cayenne, and salt. And if we're going to make this Cajun, we need to add some color to that. Need to use these up anyway. Let's use them. You can see the little mini peppers that you see in the grocery store freeze really, really well. So just a suggestion. So now we got a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow to add to this, mostly white mix. Some garlic, some Cajun seasoning, Creole. Depending on how hot you want it, you can add some other things. Oh, shoot. Oh, well. I just not having a good day with this today. happened there? I'm going to add a little more pepper to it. Put that stuff on everything. See, Jindal knows. Yeah, that's what I thought. The mustard that I did have is completely cracked and dried out. So, away it goes. We can add a little bit of this. Kashmiri chili powder. It's not very strong, but it adds another level. And now our sausage is almost done, hopefully. Thawing anyway. I'm kind of irritated because that was a $6 or $7 package of sausages. They aren't $4 anymore. They aren't $3 anymore. Huh. It actually did a decent job. So Cajun style Bavarian food it is, right? What? Come on out of there. Bringing back this knife. I knew something was going to go wrong today. See, it did thaw them out. It got them up to about room temperature without heating them up. So that's not bad. They've been in the fridge for a while. You can see they're wrinkled a little bit. As soon as I get done cutting these up, before we go to the stove, I'm going to check the oven. Ooh, that one's a little warm. Oh yeah, I can smell it. Oh, I guarantee this will be pretty good. Probably everybody that understood that reference is probably dead. All right, let me check on the oven. It's looking pretty good. We're going to leave it in there a little longer. The potatoes are starting to crisp up just a little. It's been about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that. Not paying attention. We're just gonna go by smell, right? Oh, yeah. That's a Creole thing too, you know. The old Cajun chef that was on public TV used to do that. All right, let's head over to the stove. So I am going to get the big pan. Actually, instead of using the big pot for this because it's difficult to stir it, I'm going to actually use our flat bottom wok for this. Just going to wipe in a little bit of oil. Last time I used this, I only rinsed it out, of course. There we go. We're going to get this nice and hot, so I'm going to use a little bit of that sunflower oil again. You can use sunflower or peanut oil. I add about a little more than a tablespoon there. Probably gonna need more, if I'm being honest. Give you the sausages that no one needs to get hurt. I know, right? I love that stuff. I always have, as you can see, I always have a pack of it in the freezer. I love that Cajun sauce. Totally not supposed to eat it. All right, our oil's pretty decently hot. Yeah. Come on apart, you guys. Come on. We're going to try to cook our onions and our sausages about halfway through first. I am definitely having to improvise now. I mean, I'm totally not improvising now. The hostage gets it. Yeah, I thought that might happen. There was a little bit of water in there because those peppers have been sitting in the freezer for a little while. That's not bad though. Not quite hot enough either. I'm going to bring the temperature up just a little bit. What you usually end up doing when cooking, so I can't. Let's get our garlic in there. Once we get our cabbage in there, we'll add in our spices and let them mix. We want the cabbage to get a light coating of oil on it so that everything will stick. Last time I made pizza that didn't have enough cheese, it was still a pizza. Hey, I've made plenty of pizza without cheese. You probably didn't see it, but I think it's in the Discord. I had made a chicken Kerala pizza. The pictures were a little dark, but the color was really nice. And I took that to work. I had a couple of people tell me that they didn't think that it was possible to make it that way. It's definitely a little wetter than I want it to be. We're going to try to cook out some of the water. Half of it was cheese and half of it was pepperoni. None of it was cheese and pepperoni. It happens. Temperature in here finally came up. Alright, I'm going to check the temperature in our meatloaf because it's looking pretty done. Oh yeah, it's done. Let's get that out of the oven. Our potatoes look good too. Definitely some fat cooked out. We'll get back to this one in a few minutes. Ow. All right, let's get that in there. Oh, you can see all that Cajun juice starting to mix in already. All right, let's get our spice mix going here. I'm going to mix it a little bit before I start sprinkling it in. I'm just going to take a fork, kind of mix it in. good dusting. Here's another good dusting. We don't want to cook the cabbage too much. We want it to still have a little bit of crunch to it. So we're almost done. I am going to add a little more pepper though. I like it to be about half coarse ground. So you can loosen up the screw a little bit and mix it in. I think we're about done. All right. Nice watching things sizzle.
Yeah.
We're going to come back over here. And I'm going to bring that over here too. This has got a very, very strong Sambaro vibe to it. You all may not remember that one. That's an Indian version where it's mostly just cabbage. There's no sausages involved. So let's get some plates done, shall we? But there was something on there. Got one of our meatloaf ets. A little bit of asparagus. And some of our spiced roast potatoes. Not eaten yet today. And this is enough for at least 5 or 6 meals. Yeah. There's about 4 in this one. So that's enough for one person all week. Most of the week anyway. Not too bad. Considering we hit improv. And we're a little under 2 hours this time. Well, let's bring y'all up here. So we've got a little bit of a yellowish tinge to it, but that's our spices and our Cajun mix with the oil. And then we've got our meatloaf here. And our asparagus. These look very good. I think these will be probably just fine. I will post these recipes as soon as I can. As I say, I think this is our last cooking show for this year. That is correct, because I'll be leaving for a small vacation here for a couple of weeks. So I'll be out for a little while, but anything I make in the meantime, I'll be glad to post pictures and I'll make sure everybody can see. So let's go head over to our wall of love so I can pack everything up. Sunday streams have to be a little shorter because I have to do all the work at one time. Thank you so much for being in, everybody, today. Thank you, Jindal, for helping out with the stream, and all of our various bots also, and the people that made them. And Decky, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate that. And of course, everybody that's here, thank you so much. Really appreciate everybody coming in. Let's see. Let's see what we can do about our raid today, shall we? What do we got? Oh, we're not logged in again. Okay. Oh, okay. That'll work. So we're going to raid a friend of mine. Thank you, Melina. I really appreciate everybody coming in. All right, so if you've got my emotes, you're welcome to use them. If you don't, you're welcome to use whatever you like. But gonna head on over to Darkness. They are working on Dishonored 2, so it's a little bit of a jump here. So if you want to cut and paste this message in the chat, welcome to do so. We're going to head over to Darkness and say hi. I hope everybody has the remaining day that they have a really good one. And I hope to see you all sometime soon. I'll still be on Monday and Wednesday, and I might try to do Beat Saber again Friday. We'll see. So have a great weekend, everybody. Bye now.